It's my account. I can post what I want. Ignorant. I don't post for validation. I post for myself. Ignorant. As long as she come on me, she can post whatever. Ignorant. Today we're going to talk about why sisters shouldn't post revealing pictures that cause harm to the youth or cause harm to their own life or to the life of our whole nation. We're going to start it talking about the child. A child is like a mirror. They reflect whatever stands in front of them. So if mama step out the house dressed in a revealing way like the world is her stage, don't be surprised when daughter starts rehearsing that same script. A child is like a camera with no filter, snapping every image you present to them, recording every move you make and then replaying it back to you in a language that you can't ignore. And here's the tragic part. When the child begins to imitate that very behavior you broadcast, you condemn them. You raise your voice against them. And that raising your voice is really against your own actions because they just mimicking you. And that ain't parenting. That's hypocrisy. And the louder you get, don't make it right. You can't demand modesty from a child when you're teaching them exposure with every outfit you throw on. You can't demand respect from men by posting your body for the world to bid on. And you can't be preaching discipline, but at that same time practicing indulgence. A mother who teaches one thing and lives a whole nother thing loses credibility in her own home because her child sees everything and that child remembers everything. Respect is not lost in moments. Respect is lost over time. It erodes, and it erodes more and more with every contradiction and every hypocrisy that come out your mouth. A nation is not built from top down. The nation is built from home out. And if the foundation is cracked with hypocrisy, don't expect a house to stand up straight. Then you're going to use the excuse of they children, so it's wrong. It's wrong when they do it, but it's not wrong when I'm doing it because I'm grown. We live in a time where grown folks hide behind age like it's a shield that sanctifies their wrongdoing. They tell their children don't smoke, don't drink, don't run in the wild of the night, yet they stagger through that same darkness they tell their children not to stagger in with a bottle in their hand and arrogance in their chest. They say it's wrong because you a child. But wrong is wrong. Whether you 12, whether you 20, 60, or 100, poison don't get sweeter just because you old enough to buy it. A child looks up and asks, why can't I do what you do? And the parent with no wisdom to stand on throws out that tired old excuse of I'm grown. But grown ain't a virtue. Grown ain't a moral compass. Grown just means you had more years to practice your own self-destruction. You tell your children not to run into traffic, yet you run into spiritual traffic every day and every night, clubs, addictions, lust, chaos, and you call it freedom. But freedom without discipline ain't freedom at all. It's just a longer leash on your own downfall. There are only a few things, a few sacred things that are right for an adult to do and wrong for a child to do, like marriage, righteous intimacy, and different responsibility things. Those take maturity, structure, and commitment. But for the other things, most of the other things, smoking, drinking, sleeping around, those are wrong for everybody. You don't get no righteous pass by just saying I'm grown. Nah, you don't get wisdom by aging. You only get older. The arrogance of can't nobody tell me nothing because I'm grown and they're a child. That's the anthem of self-destruction. And if the parent won't correct themselves, the child has no example to follow except a blueprint for downfall. A nation rises through the behavior of its adults. And if our adults wrap themselves in the excuses of I'm grown and stuff like that, then the next generation has no higher bar to set themselves to. Biblically, this is also wrong. If the Bible says you shouldn't be a stumbling block for the weak, then a woman dressing immodestly isn't just a fashion choice. It's a violation of divine instruction. The reality is most men in this world, they weak when it comes to their discipline. They weak when it comes to their mind and controlling and guarding their minds against temptation. That ain't an insult. That's just the condition we are in a society like this. So when a woman steps out the house revealing everything but her address, She becomes a stumbling block for their brother, a trap on the road, a snare laid out in broad daylight before brothers who are already struggling to stand upright and to stand on the principles that they know they need to stand on. And it don't even stop there. When you incite lust in the heart of a married man, you don't just endanger his spirit, you wound the woman who shares his home, his children, his legacy. You drive a wedge into her marriage and you stir doubts into her head and you plant insecurities. You become a hand that bends the branch that breaks the tree. That ain't confidence. That ain't self-expression. That's violation, divine violation. And violation of scripture, of sisterhood, violation of the commandments that I should love thy neighbor. How can you love thy neighbor while dressing in a way that strikes at the heart of the other sister's peace? How can you claim righteousness while feeding a fire that burns marriages? How can you talk about modesty and morality when every picture you post, every outfit you wear becomes a spiritual weapon used against your own community? A woman who knows her worth does not walk in the world as a stumbling block. She walks as a guidepost, a sign that points upward, not downward, toward discipline, not towards temptation. She points towards unity, not division. And until we reclaim that truth, we'll keep confusing seduction with strength and rebellion with liberation. But God is clear about this, and truth is clear. And the path of righteousness never requires you to reveal your body, only to reveal your character, your wisdom. We spoke about how this is harmful for the youth. So now let's see how this is harmful for your relationship and marriage. Let's break it down using a metaphor everybody can understand. Let's say the gym. Dopamine is basically the weight of your brain, the weight your brain get used to lifting. It's plenty of videos on dopamine, so we ain't gonna break down exactly what it is chemically, but understand this. When you constantly post seductive pictures online and receive waves of attention from different men, your brain is lifting like 200 pounds of dopamine, for example, every single day. Every comment, every flirtatious message, every emoji is just another rep. When someone trains with extremely heavy weight for months, lighter weight stops feeling like anything at all. In relationships, the same thing happens. Let's say in a monogamous relationship where attention comes from one man consistently and he doing his job, they feel like 20 pounds. It's healthy for long-term stability. But if you've been lifting 200 pounds every single day, multiple reps, that's all that extra attention from social media. That 20 pounds, even though it's healthy, it's going to feel like not enough. It's going to feel too boring, not exciting, not fulfilling. But nothing is actually wrong with the relationship. What's wrong in this example is your dopamine tolerance. By feeding on the attention of many men, you accidentally conditioned your brain to need a crowd instead of a partner. Excuse me. And you raise your dopamine ceiling so high that normal love can't even reach you no more. It don't even feel like it's doing nothing. Just like somebody who trained wrong in the gym and now you struggling with the everyday weight that others live with no problem and they ain't even in the gym. But there's the good news about it though. Just like weight training, you can rebuild healthy levels. You can lower your dopamine level threshold and you can make 20 pounds feel meaningful again. But it takes cutting off that extra male attention, which is hard for a lot of women. It takes limiting seductive posting. I say don't even do it at all. You need to detox from validation addiction. You need to rebuild your brain and your heart in a way that regular intimacy feel good to you. You risk entering every relationship feeling like your partner isn't enough, not because they're lacking, but because you accidentally overstimulated yourself into numbness. But before I go off on a tangent and get into another conversation, that's all we gonna have for this episode, y'all. I appreciate y'all tapping into this episode of the Dontbeaviking podcast. I hope that this motivated you or educated you in a way that If you are a woman or brother that dresses immodestly and dresses in a way that might cause harm to your individual relationship or the relationship with others, or you might dress in a way or have a certain thought process towards wardrobe that may be detrimental for our youth to adopt that mindset. I hope this video encouraged you to think about it differently and move differently and dress differently for the betterment of not only you individually, but our whole nation. I also know that most of us are interested in receiving knowledge that will transform our way of thinking and transform our current way of life, but we may not know where to get that information. I have a digital product that contains every book that I have ever read about family, the Black community, the attacks on us, how we can overcome those attacks personally, how we can unify collectively to reach our goals, and how we can build a strong family structure within the home, which will lead to a strong nation outside the home. And every book I read will get added to it in the future, so it's constantly updating. But if you're interested in it, make sure you hit the email up in my description of this YouTube video. Or if you're interested in a free consultation call about whatever may be troubling you in your family or in your marriage, hit that same email up. Let me know what's going on. We'll chop it up. With that being said, I appreciate y'all tapping into this episode of Don't Be a Viking podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all. Yes, sir, ski.